Hey, Avi, how's it going?
Hello, Sarah. How are you?
I'm great.
Sarah, I have loved you for a long time, and we'll get to talking about the past in a bit, but let's talk about this new script. My first question is just what attracted you to it?
You know, I loved The Starter Wife. Gigi Levangie Grazer, who wrote that, also wrote another book called Maneater. And so I read her book, and I thought it was just delicious and fabulous and so fun. And then when I read the script version, I loved it. I just thought it was such a combination of funny and heartbreaking. And so to get to kind of, in the spread of a 4-hour miniseries, play somebody who, you know, stalks a guy, falls madly in love, gets married, gets pregnant, kind of all in the wrong order. And I had to tap dance and sing, so which terrified me. So to do all of that, you know, in one part was really fun and really challenging.
You know, you talk about singing. You've mentioned before that you don't think you're that great of a singer, but I think you're a wonderful singer. Were you nervous this time around?
Yes, I was petrified because I had to, in the story, she basically steps in for, her mom throws a charity event, and there's all these older women who are tapping and singing, and one of the women falls out. So my character's like 9 months pregnant, so I get into one of these outfits of one of the other women and who couldn't show up. And so I have on like fishnets, these tiny tap pants, and this big pregnant belly, and I have to get up in front of like 300 people because there was a few hundred extras and the whole crew and all the cast, and I worked with everybody for like over a month and a half by this point. And I get up on stage, it's early in the morning, and I said to the director, so since I'm stepping in, like I don't really know what I'm doing, so I should probably sing and tap badly. And he's like, no, I think you should sing really well. I'm like, well, that may not be possible. So I tried, and then he goes, yeah, you're right, maybe you should sing badly. So I was allowed to sing poorly and just kind of tap. But I got up there to do the first scene, and when I lifted my arms up, the way the pregnancy belly was, my pants fell down. So there I was singing and tapping with my pants around my ankles. So it's just like layers of embarrassment and humiliation.
Oh, well, I'm sure you pulled it off extremely well. I've been hearing a couple of rumors that if the series, this miniseries as well, will be turned into a full-blown series. Is there any truth to that?
I heard the same rumors. I mean, I think they want to see how it goes on May 30th and see how it does. But I think that it lends itself well to a series because it sort of has a very fun Sex and the City type vibe with a group of 4 best girlfriends. And so I think there's definitely so many different places that it could go.
And then, of course, we thought we were going to see the series finale of Scrubs in May, which I cried. I will admit I cried. I had a very nice cry. But it's been renewed. Are we going to see Dr. Elliott Reid one more time?
Yeah, I hope so. I would love to. I mean, it was really the best job I've ever had. I got it a couple months after I got to Los Angeles, and so really my whole experience here, Scrubs has been such a huge part of it. And I think that it had one of those really rare combinations on a series where you get to feel challenged and love the character you're playing because the writing was great, and then to also get along with and enjoy the people you're working with. I think that'll be, a really tough experience for all of us to replicate.
And I, as well as millions of fans, we followed the show almost religiously. And I can't remember the last time I've been that addicted to a show. I have my own theories, but for you, why do you think you got this almost cult-like audience with this show?
We were so lucky to have that, and I think it's really the only reason that we were able to stay on as long as we did, because we got bounced around. I mean, I think we had like 27 time slots in the 8 years in 2 different networks, and without that following that would follow us to the different times, we wouldn't be on the air. So we were definitely lucky to have that. But I mean, for me, why I fell in love with the pilot the second I read it was I just thought it was so different and kind of fast-paced and quirky, and I loved the way the writers sort of walk that fine line between the comedy and the drama, and kind of, just at the sort of very edge where you just had done something really, really silly, and then you have to deal with losing a patient. And I think that, that's a really tricky road for the writers to walk, and I think they did such a great job.
And your character grew, too. The Elliot that we saw in the, seasons 1 and season 2, much different than the one we saw in last season. And I think that's also a sign of how strong the show was and its writing, that you guys were able to grow.
Yeah, I think that's really a tribute to the writers. I mean, definitely because it ran for so long, and because we all got very close with the writers. Definitely who we are kind of dribbled into our characters, and the lines started to blur between what was us and what was not. So like any story you told at the lunch table, you would see in a script 2 weeks later. So you had to sort of be careful and watch what you said.
Like what? Tell me, is there a personal experience of your life that ended up in Elliot's story?
Yeah, there were a few. Definitely, I will say this, in general, there's way more about Elliot that is exactly like me than I would wish to admit. I'm equally klutzy, and that's sort of where the whole clumsiness thing came from. I would show up about once a season on crutches and have torn the ligaments in my ankle and have to call the producer and be like, sorry, Randall, I did it again. I'm going to have to stand behind a hospital bed and not walk for a few days, if that's okay. And the wardrobe department had made me a giant art smock that was supposed to double as a bib for me to wear at lunch because I had spilled on my scrubs and we were running out of scrubs in the Elliot colors, and to the point where the worst part was when I fell asleep, we would wake up and have such early calls. So I had a nap one day and I fell asleep on a Sharpie. So I woke up with a huge like ink stain on my scrubs, and I was like, do you think this will come out? Yeah.
Well, Sarah, again, I'm a huge fan. I've loved your work in it, and you probably, I don't know if you hear it enough, but I just as a fan would like to say thank you for all that you did and just letting us laugh and cry as well, because like you said, the show was at times funny and at times heart-wrecking. And you did a wonderful job with that.
Thank you so much. What a nice thing to say.
Before I go, I have one more question. I saw this on a promo, and I want to make sure it's true. Do you still get called Second Becky?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That was my nickname at Scrubs. They'd be like, let's get Second Becky down to set, please. So, yeah, that has definitely followed me in my life.
Did that follow it onto the set of the miniseries, too?
No, it didn't actually. It did not come with me to Maneater. That was one of my first jobs where I was able to outgrow that title.
Well, Sarah, I hope great luck for you in the future. I hope this miniseries gets to be turned into a series so I can see you more times. You're a wonderful actress, and thank you so much for all that you've done.
Oh, thank you so much. It was such a pleasure being on your show. You're the nicest interviewer I've ever talked to. Oh, and also, Maneater was sponsored by Vaseline HelloFresh, so we made a bunch of fun webisodes for Maneater and Vaseline that you can see at rulesforskinseason.com. And you can win a great trip.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Have a great day.
Thanks so much for having me.
Bye.